Let's talk more about the topic of fake meat. Here once again is NCBA CEO Colin Woodall, and also we're joined by Minnesota Cattleman Don Schiefelbein, who also serves as NCBA's Policy Division Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for coming and spending some time talking about this important topic. I want to begin with some level setting, right? I hear a lot about terminology, alternative protein, plant-based protein, lab meat, fake meat. Set the record straight, Colin, and give us some definition around these products that are trying to steal beef's market share.
Kevin, there's a lot of alternative proteins out there. Beans are an alternative protein that would love to steal some of our market share. But when you look at what NCBA is doing right now, we're looking at two different classes. The first one is going to be those products that are plant-based, things such as the Impossible Burger and the Impossible Whopper right now, and also Beyond Beef and the Beyond Ground product that we see. That is out in the grocery store shelves today. You can get it today, and we're trying to make sure that producers and consumers both know exactly what that product is. But we also have the cell-based or lab-grown beef, where they are taking cells from bovines and trying to replicate our product. Now, none of that has made it to the retail chain yet, but it is something that is definitely in development, and those are the two areas we're looking at, the cell-grown product and the plant-based product. The two things are definitely trying to compete with us.
And Donnie, tell us, why is fake meat such a concern for beef producers?
Well, I guess you don't have to look any further than look at the two CEOs and the statements they're making about what they want to do, and they're clearly on record saying they want to eliminate animal protein. You know, if that isn't a threat, I don't know what a threat is, right? And so I think it's very important that we stay focused on making sure we're defending our product and making sure the consumers clearly understand what it is they're purchasing when they're purchasing these fake meat products.
So as Policy Division Chair, did you have something to add?
Yeah. Key component of that is just also the realization that these companies are marketing off of our backs. They're not talking about why their product is great, they're talking about why our product is bad. And so disparaging us in the marketplace is not acceptable. And on top of that, they want to use the term beef, also unacceptable to us.
Right, and I guess at one level, imitation is the best form of flattery, but to your point, they are disparaging, using disparaging comments as their key differentiator.
And we've developed this reputation of beef for many, many centuries, right?
Sure.
And as far as we're concerned, beef is beef and there is no alternative.
So as Policy Division Chair, Don, how long has NCBA been working on this issue, and what prompted the organization to take action in the first place?
Well, like all policy, all of our policies begin at the grassroots level. So it initiates through producers saying, hey, there's a need here. It percolates up through the chain through our affiliates. The state affiliates bring forward the policy to our national organization, and we decide whether or not we're going to vote up or down on the policy. And of course, this one was obviously one that was key, and we decided we're going to move forward with this policy. So it's been a 2-year process, but it was identified early, and I think fortunately, relative to some other agriculture organizations like dairy, who didn't act it promptly, we're out in front of the game today.
Being very proactive.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let me clarify one thing. Is NCBA opposed to alternative proteins?
We want a fair playing field is what we want. We never think anyone wins by taking choices away from the consumer. I think that's an important point to make. And I think what we really want to make sure is that people understand what fake meat really is, what the ingredients are, and make sure that when they're purchasing that kind of product, they know precisely what they're buying, because we believe in a level playing field, beef wins.
Yeah, I agree. And Colin, you had mentioned there are several of these products already on the market. I just saw one advertised on Sunday when we went out. What is your expectation relative to the growth in market share that these products might be taking, and what's going to drive that?
No doubt that there's a lot of attention given to these products right now. You can't watch football without seeing an Impossible Whopper commercial on TV. And of course, every time one of those comes up, we draw up a little bit, as you can imagine. But we also have to keep in mind that there's still not a whole lot of acceptance of this product. Great example, I was in my local Safeway about 2 weeks ago, and there was the Beyond Beef ground product that was in the meat case next to ground beef, and it was still fully stocked and had all the markdown stickers on it. So we're still seeing that the consumer's not 100% on board, but we can't let that cause us not to act. We have to make sure that we keep the pressure on and ensure that they are being accurate in their marketing, and more importantly, do everything we can to protect that term beef, because as Don said, that's ours.
You're right. Absolutely. And you both talked about the disparaging comments. Don, are you concerned about how they're positioning the health and wellness benefits of these alternative products?
Yeah, I think they're misleading the consumer by devoid, by not telling them fully what it is. When you start to look at the product and you have health professionals look at the product, they're quick to point out if you're buying this product for healthfulness, you're probably not making a good choice. You can just take a glance, Kevin, through the list of what's in these things. Okay. And I mean, it's like expeller pressed canola oil, methacellulose.
Oh, sure, that sounds good.
Maltodextrin. And I mean, it sounds like more frankenfood than it does anything else, right? And I think it becomes important that we get that message out so people clearly see what they're buying. Yeah. And I think if those kind of product names sound a little familiar to you, do you know what? A lot of these same ingredients are in your regular dog food that you purchase. Wow. So, yeah. I think we just got to be clear on what they're buying and make sure they understand what they're buying.
Do you all find it interesting that the same set of consumers who were concerned about, GMOs and even processing the food are now embracing this? Is that odd to you, Colin, or not?
It is odd. It is something that we've asked in Washington, D.C. among the policymakers. Yeah. How can you not support GMOs, but all of a sudden think that this ultra-processed product is going to be the savior for the environment? Right. It does not add up.
And you mentioned the environment. I see a lot of articles referencing climate change, environment, animal welfare as being the primary reason that even if you like meat, traditional beef, you should try these alternative proteins. What do you say to that?
We have a lot of hungry mouths in the world today, and there are more to come. But we have less and less arable land. And of the arable land that we have, not all of it is suited to corn or broccoli or carrots. We have a lot of rangeland that our animals can graze on. We can help with carbon sequestration. We can take that food stuff that is of no use to us as humans, and we can turn that into high quality beef, which people love here in the United States and they love around the world. That is truly a superpower. And I think telling that story and making sure that people see it in the context is going to be very important for us to maintain the high ground here and try to debunk a lot of the myths that Impossible and Beyond continue to perpetuate.
And I think the reality is, Kevin, that when you look at the health benefits of beef and the reality that's coming around, that beef truly is a very good. So yeah, for everything, they've just turned directions, and their goal is not necessarily healthfulness, et cetera. They just want to eliminate
beef production.
Exactly. And I think now they're taking aim through the environment.
Well, and when you alluded to it, when you have the CEO of Whole Foods saying things like, don't eat this for health benefits. I mean, don't think you're being more healthy by eating Impossible Burger, or Beyond Beef. I think that says a lot, don't you?
I think when consumers really understand what they're eating, what the ingredient list looks like, we win very quickly on healthfulness.
I don't know about your cows, but my cows eat plants, so I guess we're the original plant-based protein,
That's
right?
Exactly right. That's exactly right.